Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. Today on the podcast, in case you missed our conversation on the Map It Forward podcast yesterday, we have a huge announcement to make. We've been leading up to this for a few weeks now, and this is our big announcement for 2021. The Map It Forward podcast will be expanding from English into Arabic, and our host will not be me. The host for Map It Forward Middle East will be the fabulous Sara Alali. And Map It Forward is super proud to be working with Sara and to welcome her into our fold and to watch the podcast do amazing things across the Middle East. Now, this has been a dream of mine since we started this podcast 4 years ago. A big theme for me for this year is how do we get more inclusive? How do we bring more voices to the table so that my voice is not the only voice that comes through on the podcast? Now, that doesn't mean I'm disappearing anywhere. That doesn't mean that anything like that's happening. Map It Forward in English will still continue. The Daily Coffee Pro will still continue, and the conversations on the Map It Forward English version of the podcast will still continue, but we will be launching an Arabic version that will be completely hosted by Sara, and Sara will be the person that determines all the content that goes on her version of the podcast. So while I will be mentoring Sara through this process, it will be Sara's voice and I will be producing the show, but it will be Sara's content. Sara will get to decide exactly what she talks about, when she talks about it, and I will be supporting her through that process. So if you are an Arab-speaking person in the coffee industry or hoping to become a coffee professional or coffee small business owner in the Middle East, anywhere in the Middle East, then this is the podcast for you. Sara is based in Saudi Arabia, so the podcast will be produced out of Saudi Arabia and also here through Sydney, and it will be broadcast across all the usual podcasting platforms. So it will be on Spotify, it will be on Apple Podcasts, it will be on Google Play or Google Podcasts it's called now, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all those places. It will be called the Map It Forward Middle East podcast. Some of those platforms do not support Arabic writing, so you will have to find it in English, but for platforms that do support the Arabic writing, you will be able to get it written, you will see it all written in Arabic. So the other place that you will be able to find it is on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Map It Forward, and there will be a specific playlist that is especially for the Arabic version of the podcast. Now, on our website, you can go to mapitforward.org/Middle East, and you'll get to read all about Sara. You'll get to get a link to click into, listen to the podcast or watch the podcast from our website. You will be able to submit questions and topics for exploration that you would like us to cover on the podcast, or you would like Sara to cover on the podcast. That's where you'll be able to find it. Where our social media, we'll have one social media platform, and that is on Instagram at Map It Forward Middle East is where you can find our social media. It will all be in Arabic, so you'll be able to take a look at everything there. Who is Sara Alali? Sara Alali is a competitor in the coffee industry. She is a business owner. She is opening her first big brick and mortar cafe in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. She is born in Saudi, and her heritage is Saudi and Syrian. She has lived in Canada for 10 years, and she studied there. You can, if you want to get the real lowdown on Sara, watch the episode 128 of the Map It Forward podcast, the conversational version of it, and you can see she told us all about herself. But Sara is in the process of opening her cafe called That Boutique Cafe, and it is stunning. It is something really, really beautiful. Now, Sara has been through the Map It Forward mastermind groups. She is a one-on-one coaching client. She is just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to all the things that you need to go through on a long-term career in order to achieve the things that Sara has achieved. She is an SCA certified trainer. She travels all over the Middle East and trains, and she just really cares about the well-being of business owners and professionals. It is really important to Sara that people don't make the same mistakes that she made, and that they skip forward to scoring the wins that she achieved. She's also a big advocate, having been through our mastermind groups, she's a big advocate for people defining their life currencies and learning the lessons that they need to learn in order to underpin the foundational success that they're looking to achieve. Some of the mistakes that Sara's made and that we've all made, she doesn't feel that people need to make them again. So a lot of what her podcast is going to be focused on is helping people skip the unnecessary mistakes. And we all know there are a lot of them. Things like expecting that when you are starting a cafe, expecting that you're going to need at least double the budget you think you're going to need. No matter how many times I tell that to clients, they're convinced they're going to be the first person that comes in on budget. Never happens. And Sara's going to encourage people who are trying to do the same thing across the Middle East as what she's done to just heed some of the things that she learnt from and encourage them to be more open-minded as the specialty coffee industry absolutely booms across the Middle East. Now, if you're not in the Middle East, and you're wondering why we picked the Middle East to be the first country or the first region where we expand the podcast from English into another language, well, that's because it is absolutely booming, and they don't have the same kind of history as what we had in America and in Australia of the establishment of a specialty coffee scene or a coffee scene in general. So they need the extra support, and this kind of happened much quicker than I thought it would. The stars aligned. Sara was in the mastermind group, and we happened to flippantly say one day, I said to her, you need your own podcast. And it just went from there. Having said that, I wasn't even intending that it would be through us. I just was really encouraging her, being as wise as she is, to turn around and give that knowledge as much as she can. She wanted to do it through Map It Forward, and we are proud and stoked to have her in our fold. Now, we would love to thank Sara, myself, and the whole Map It Forward team would love to thank our sponsors, our launch sponsors for this podcast, that have just willingly trusted what we're about to do and supported us financially to get this project off the ground. And those 4 sponsors are our 4 launch sponsors for this podcast in the Middle East are Project Origin, CoffeeNet, FAF Coffees, and Los Pirineos in El Salvador. Without those 4 sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do this, and we're incredibly grateful and proud to be representing your brands through the first 3 months of the launch of this podcast. If you're interested in supporting this project, please get in contact with us, and we'll see what opportunities we can create and what we can do moving forward. So here we have it. This is our big project for 2021. We're super excited. Come along, encourage Sara, encourage all the coffee community in the Middle East by following us at Map It Forward Middle East and following Sara Alali. You'll see all the links in the show notes below. And please join me in welcoming Sara Alali to the Map It Forward team. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.